Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. We have made it to day 5 of our 5-day training, and I hope you had half as much fun as I did. I am just so happy to have you here and to be able to celebrate having made it through 4 of the 5 Ma Yoga principles or sacred steps or elements. And in a pose, when we do these, right, we're aligning so that when we finally stretch, it's not just a physical action, it's very deep. And so in life, when we do this, we are at this point where we have this opportunity to reach, to extend into sort of where our desire is drawing us. So I want to make that super easy for you to take your next steps if you would like more training. And I'm going to offer some big discounts after this, but I just want to kind of go over all the questions that I got from everybody, and they're all basically the same as all the questions that I usually get. If this does not answer your questions and you are thinking you might want to take a training, get certified, start teaching, then in any email you can always just reply and say you want to schedule a call with me. I am always just really excited to connect with people who are drawn to support, guide, and inspire pregnant mamas. So the 85-hour Yoga Alliance RPYT Certification Program is divided into 4 trainings. So if you scroll down, you can read a little bit of overview, and then these are the 4. The Yoga of Pregnancy is what we're starting next as at the time of this video. And it's really the foundation, although all the trainings are meant to be able to be taken at any time. The one after this, the Yoga of Healing, I wouldn't recommend starting with it if you have 0 yoga experience, just because it might feel a little overwhelming. But the Yoga of Pregnancy is really the full-on prenatal teacher training part. So if you know you don't want to get certified, but you just really just want to be able to have these practices and principles, have all the tools you need, understand what's going to be safe, therapeutic, and effective, this is the one to take. They're all 3 weeks, twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays. And you can join us live. You can watch the videos at home and stay with us, or you can even just do it on your own. So in each of these sections on prenatalteachertraining.com, you can click to read more about that training, or just click send me more info. It'll take you down to the form to fill out, and I'll send you specific. The Yoga of Healing. So the Yoga of Pregnancy is your travel through the trimesters, and you're going to use these principles that we've learned, but to help to understand sort of how we can best address the physiological and psychological changes that are happening at every step of the journey. And you're going to find, and this is what's so cool about these elements, remember we learned them in order, you can map that over the journey of pregnancy. And so, for instance, beginning of 2nd trimester, hormones are kicking in, things are getting unstable. Somebody tells you, I'm 15, 16 weeks. Well, I mean, you're always going to make space for baby. We're always going to do all of these, but you know what to emphasize with them. Let's say they're having a private session with you. You're going to focus a lot on engaging the muscles, making sure they understand that, like, for this journey, we're not going to just be like shutting down and lying about. We are going to use our muscles. So that's the Yoga of Pregnancy. Now, the Yoga of Healing takes it one step further. We're going to use these same principles. We're going to apply them on a really deep therapeutic level. We're going to learn about back pain, wrist pain, shoulder pain. We're going to learn about diastasis recti and pelvic instability and all of these postpartum issues. And we're going to learn how to help prevent them. And if they're happening, help relieve them, support healing for them. That's the Yoga of Healing. And then there's a lot of just general postpartum healing, mental, emotional, energetic in there. We use the chakras a lot. Ayurveda is your off the mat self-care, daily rhythm, food as medicine practices. We're going to learn some really wonderful principles that will kind of connect you back into your intelligent cravings, I like to say, and an awareness of aligning with your natural rhythm. And then we're going to apply what we know to pregnancy, postpartum, kids, and colds. And it's really fun. We get to have a few days to try different things like coconut oil massage and neti pot and spice water and things like that. After you do the first two, the yoga pregnancy and the yoga of healing, we have a mom mentorship. So I incorporated this because I really feel like it's one thing to, do a lot more than just give you guys a bunch of videos and lists. That's not where I'm at. But it's another thing to actually have some one-on-one support. So wherever you're at with the information, wherever you're at with teaching, maybe you've never taught before, maybe you've been teaching forever, and this is kind of a new way to teach using these alignment principles. Maybe you just need a little bit of emotional cheerleading. We have this mom mentorship program. It's 2 weeks, 2 months max, and we assign you a wonderful senior Ma Yoga teacher who will help you create your first prenatal class, teach it, and then she'll watch a video and give you some feedback. And we're really very well trained in like, what's next? We're not going to overwhelm you. It's just what's the next thing for you on your teaching path. So as a teacher of more than 20 years, I have to say, this is a really wonderful aspect because we don't get feedback on our teaching from people who know. And if you haven't taught, you don't know. You think you're going to stand up there and there's going to be all these faces like giving you sort of feedback like, oh yeah, I get that. I don't. You don't give feedback. You just have to keep trusting and assuming that things are landing, with everyone that they should land with. So it's a really nice aspect of the certification program. And finally, we have the yoga of birth. So I incorporated childbirth education into my 85-hour curriculum because I use my doula training all the time in my classes. I feel like it's really important for us to understand the pros and cons, totally objective, totally non-judgmental. If you go this way, here's what you might want to do. If you go this way, this is what you might want to look out for. And just know you have these choices. So this is taught by two of our most senior and amazing Ma Yoga teachers, Rachel and Melanie. They're also postpartum doulas and birth doulas. And so they take you through the journey of labor through a filter of yoga. So using mantras, mudras, meditation, movement to cope with everything that arises. And of course, in all of these, you will recognize the 5 sacred steps. They will guide us throughout. There's an FAQ section on this page. All right, so questions. Okay, Georgie has some pretty specific questions. I'm not a certified yoga instructor. I'm interested in teaching only prenatal. Yes, specializing in supporting prenatal women, early parenthood. Would yoga pregnancy be sufficient? So, wonderful question. Yes, I welcome you with open arms. So even if you're not a yoga instructor, if you have never had any training, this is going to provide you with all the tools you need to be able to share yoga practices and principles with pregnant women. That said, I've been around long enough that I was here before Yoga Alliance. So Yoga Alliance set themselves up as the arbiter of, who gets the letters after their name, right? And so you don't get to have the RPYT, Registered Prenatal Yoga Teacher. Even if you take the whole program, you don't get to have that unless or until you take a regular yoga teacher training. The nice thing is you can do that at any time. And we are going to have 2 visitors, Melanie and Rachel, who I just mentioned, teachers of the yoga of birth. Melanie actually started before she had ever taken a yoga teacher training. She had a thriving mama circle. And at some point, a year or 2 later, she said, I think I'm going to take a regular one because I just want to keep learning, right? So yoga is like that. It's 5,000 years old. It's not something you can master in 3 weeks, but you'll have plenty to share. And then you'll see, do I want to keep going? You can always, do it over time, wait till next year or whatever. So I would say absolutely take the yoga of pregnancy. That will get you as far as any 3-week training could ever get you. And then you can see how you're feeling. And ultimately, it's yoga, right? So it's really about, do I feel like I have a couple more things in my tool bag than this mom-to-be does? In which case, I can change their life, literally. All you need to know is a couple more things that they didn't know, right? And you're going to give them wonderful gifts. So hopefully that answers your question, and you're so welcome for these sessions. So again, you can, I'm just going to go through a couple of my regular old questions that I get a lot, and because I assume a lot of people will have them. Is the training all online? Yes, the training is all online. It used to be half online, but Yoga Alliance relaxed their restrictions when COVID came along. I fell in love with online teaching back when I was just teaching Ma Ayurveda because I could spread it out over time. And it made it completely different instead of packing all this information into a weekend, right? And then you wake up on Monday and you're just like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do now. Never mind, I'm going back to my life, right? You've just wasted your money. This happens and we can spread it out. It's so easy. You can, like, I'm literally just wearing these pajama shorts. Like, you could just come as you are. You click in and there you are, and we get to connect with each other. So I was ready. I had already prepared everything, in the Ma Yoga living room. And so I just started doing it immediately. So I've been doing it online for almost 2 years and it works just really well. So am I going back to teaching in person? I would like to have a retreat sometime for advanced prenatal teacher training, and we could actually do hands-on adjustments. I would say that's the only thing I miss. But even in the therapeutic training, the yoga of healing, we invite a partner, right? And so I'm there helping you put your hands on their shoulders, move their shoulder blades, and it's really fun and it seems to get a lot of it across. Can I do this training self-paced? So my goal with Ma Yoga and with the training is to make yoga easily accessible for people. What kind of bugged me a long time ago is that there's this sense that we have to be in this fancy studio, pristine, nice, beautiful wooden floors, and have an hour and a half of silence, or we're not going to do it. And it bugged me because as a new mom, that's how I felt. And so the yoga fell away. And so when my daughter was 2, I decided I wanted to create something that made it easier for especially new moms to be able to have yoga. So what that was creating these locations in different neighborhoods, right, throughout Southern California, which a bunch of us did. But it was also sort of rethinking, if I only have 2 minutes to meditate, then what am I going to do, right? And breaking it down and being like, okay, if this is what you need, then these are the things. So if you're interested, like, become a member, you can do it for 2 weeks for free and take Ma meditation. It breaks it down. So everything I'm about is just kind of making it so we feel good about doing one downward dog while baby is, eating or something. That goes for the training as well. I want to make it so it fits into your life, because when I was creating this training, it was like everything was 2 weeks full time to get to your 85 hours. And I was like, who could ever stop their life for that long? Not me. So all the decisions I made were based on, let's make it easy for very busy people, because we're all nurturers of people and projects and we are busy. Ideally, you would be able to have the time to come Wednesdays and Saturdays live and do the whole program with me. I get to know you, you get the most out of it. You're right there when we're learning, asking questions, and you have that momentum, the energy of the group. Life is not always ideal. If you have to miss some, you'll get an email that afternoon that says the video is ready. You can watch it. You can stay in the current of the group. Let's say something happens in your life, a family member gets sick, you have to drop out, no problem. You can take it again the next time. How many times can you take it? As many times as you want, as long as I'm online. You can be like, Jess, I want a refresher, I'm coming. Or add me into the roster for your next Ma Ayurveda. I need to get back into my practices. So you can take it live, or you have instant access when you register to the videos from the last one, except if we're within 2 weeks of the next training, which we are, in fact. So generally, you'll be able to just take a training that you've paid for as long as you want. All right, so you can do it self-paced. Now, if you're getting certified, I have a deadline. You must finish your certification within a year. Why? Because I know life pulls you in a million different directions, and I want you to be able to get it done because that's your intention. So I do that to support you. It is Yoga Alliance certified, RPYT. If you do not have your 200 hour, you will be able to say you are Ma Yoga certified. If you are only doing the yoga of pregnancy, you can ask and I will send you a certificate of completion for the yoga of pregnancy. So can I teach? I just want to make sure, Georgie, I answered your question. So if you don't have your RPYT, chances are a yoga studio would be like, we need you to get your regular yoga teacher training. However, you can teach clients, you can teach friends and family, you can even set up your own mama circle. So there's no like laws that say you have to have any letters next to your name to teach yoga. You could actually go right now and say, I'm a prenatal yoga teacher. So it's really about how do I feel inside, right? Do I feel like this is my next step in my practice? And I want you guys to think about teaching like it's part of your practice. First, we practice. Then there's this natural desire to share. That's it. It's not like a big dark line where you've crossed into some other land. You're always a practitioner, you're always a student, and you're just sharing what you're discovering along the way. What happens if I can't take the yoga healing right after the yoga pregnancy finishes? No problem. You can do it next year, and then you can hop into Ma Yoga this year if you want. What if I work? I can't make the live sessions. Totally fine. We went over that. You can watch the video. What if I want to be a doula? All right, so I mentioned the yoga of birth. This is basically a doula training, but without the business part of it. If you think you might want to be able to be paid to be at students' births, and you will get asked, then I would recommend taking a doula training on your own instead. I can recommend some that are wonderful and online. They are much more expensive than our yoga of birth version, but they would allow you then to get certified eventually. You have to fill out a lot of paperwork. You have to do like 3 births for free. What if I'm pregnant? This is a wonderful time to dive into the practices and principles of Ma Yoga. Everything becomes so personal and so meaningful. And really that's the, that's like where we teach from. That's what's inspiring for people. So it's an ideal time to take it. And if your due date falls before we're done, that's okay. I would recommend, trying to get the yoga of pregnancy and the yoga of healing in. Ma Yoga is pretty great for postpartum when you come up for air. However, it's even better if you do it in advance, because then you know all the healing practices that you can do. So you just do what you can do. Oh, the yoga of birth, absolutely. If you're pregnant, and you're literally giving birth in, 4 weeks, I would say jump into the yoga of birth, because that's a birth education class. I just want to make sure that everybody has access to, something that would make it easier for you to take that next step on your journey. If you are drawn to learn more about these practices and principles, I just don't want money to be the reason that you don't. And so often I see this thing happen where, you feel drawn, like you're curious, you're interested, you're excited, but then you're like, but I can't because, usually time or money, right? And then, but what I see is like, it doesn't go away. It gets stronger and stronger. Life doesn't make it easier. In fact, often it gets harder and harder. And that when people do jump in, despite those questions, to me, I always just think about the acorn, right? It's got this desire to turn into an oak tree, right? And it's not like it's something bigger than it. It's not just, I want a donut, right? This means that it has everything it needs to do that, right? The sun is going to be there. The world around it is going to support it. And I do see that happening a lot when people follow their inner GPS, which arises in the form of desire. So check your email. You'll be getting that soon. And go to prenatalteachertraining.com to learn more. Go up to events and registration, and you'll see the dates of all of our upcoming trainings. I hope to get to see you. I hope to get to support you on your own Ma path. And thank you so, so much for being here.